Cloud. Hello, everybody. Role play today. Woo! It's not the kind of role play where we enact roles, but maybe we do. It's where we roll around on the floor. Maybe we are reenacting some kind of role as, yeah, a child or an animal. So prior to turning on the record button, I was talking to the people in my class and you folks, and we're talking about body fat and softness and feeling uncomfortable with parts of our body. And so the first thing I want to offer is let's just take a moment to appreciate our bodies and give it some love. And even those parts that maybe we don't love, that maybe we think there's something wrong with them. So let's just, if we can, take a minute of breath. And as Mark Walsh would say, if you can't be loving to your body, at least be kind. If you can't be kind to your body, at least be civil. But I'm going to invite you to be very gentle. And like, if you can't do it to yourself, imagine it's your cat or a little baby and give that same kind of energy to yourself. Even if you have to imagine you as being someone outside of yourself. Just breathing into that, maybe some gratitude for being alive, for having been born on this earth, being gracious, having some gratitude for the earth, some gratitude for the air that we're breathing, and some gratitude for the fluid in our body, for our connection to water. Yeah, we'll do a 4 elements gratitude and some gratitude for the fire, which is spirit, which is the warmth and heat of our body. So as I do that, I'm like touching my upper body and lower body and just giving a little rub in, like, thank you, hello, wonderful to be here today with you. And then to come back to this idea of fat. And let's imagine that instead of thinking we have fat or things are wrong, that there's a certain extra layer of protection. A lot of times, I just heard a thing, you're not fat, you're toxic, where what's happening is the fat is actually protecting parts of us. And then we also know that some people, there's a book I think called You're Not Fat, You're Toxic. And a few different doctors I was listening to, actually Perry Nicholson was talking about this, about, hi Marie Christine, about how we store fat sometimes to protect ourselves. So what I want to also say is that if you're rolling on the floor, that extra layer, the superficial fascia, which is kind of filled with little bits of fat, is protecting you. So we want to feel our way into that, like that layer of protection, that layer of softness that surrounds our body, the layer of softness that's in our body. And this is one more idea. I've been doing all of this different mindfulness, non-dual meditation stuff, and doing a lot of Michael Taft's podcasts because I'm actually editing the transcriptions. So the idea of softening inside, like if we can, we come to this idea of who we are inside ourselves, can we make that just a little softer and gentler? So that's my idea for today, to play with softening, making the inside softer and gentler within ourselves. And that can be our awareness of self. Can we soften our awareness? And it could also be our sort of I am me, ego. Can we soften our ego? So I'm going to suggest that we play with that on the floor. And at some point I'm going to bring in music. It'll be Jeff Gersh, but I think let's start with actually rolling, laying down on the floor. And I'm on a carpet today. You could be on a hard floor, on a carpet. You could do this seated. You could come to all fours. Feel free to take anything that I offer and do something totally different if that's what's calling to you today. Listen into your own body, or come along for the ride that I'm going on, or some version of it that you're going on. So I'm just going to start with mobilizing my center in whatever it means to have a center. So for me, actually, when I think mobilizing my center, I'm really thinking kind of like spinal. I'm thinking like head to tail, but it could be mobilizing your sort of chi, prana, shakti, whatever, your belly center, navel center, whatever part of you that you find to be center. See if you can tune into that, bring it online with some movement, maybe feeling into the parts of you that are touching into the floor. the superficial fascia, the skin, feeling the bone. And from whatever your idea of center is, can you allow it to become slightly more diffused? So if I'm thinking in my whole head tail pattern, as I invite in the idea of making that whole center channel more diffuse, I feel my throat. I become very aware of my throat because I'm talking and I can really feel the vibration in there. So I want to invite in some sound for this. And I think sound that has vocal cord is going to be the best for the vibration. So what I want to invite in is like sort of ooh, oh, ah, like, or even all vowel sounds. Like it could be ooh, 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 and the invitation is to really invite freedom and play into that sound. So if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. But give yourself permission to make noise and to let that vowel sound, because that will vibrate us from the inside to the outside. And we can think of moving from the inside to the outside or from the outside to the inside. Giving yourself a chance to dance with your awareness. And just seeing what those vowel sounds bring up. You can play the whole full ooh, oh, ah, a, e, or just play with one sound. Just seeing what arises, what becomes interesting, moving big, moving small, staying still, however you want to get going. So, invite your face to free up. So let yourself make faces, let things fizzle up, if that's a word, fizzling up and fizzling out through your face. So it could be sounds, it could be expressions. There's the great, there's a Susan Harper, who's a continuum teacher, has this talk about eyes of wonder. So if you open your eyes wide or look around, what happens to the rest of your face if you free it up? Again, letting the sound come in whatever way feels nourishing. Inviting in fluid movement, inviting in freedom, inviting in nourishing deliciousness. And if you encounter anything uncomfortable, or if you feel like, oh no, I've gotten out of my understanding of who I am, just turn your head from side to side and check out the space around you, take in your surroundings. So if anything becomes sort of destabilizing, the deeper we get into practices, sometimes the harder it is to really know where we are as ourselves in the world. So if you need to come back to that at any time, feel free, you can get up and walk around. Just throwing that out there for the people in TV land. And you don't have to sound beautiful. This isn't singing a song. It's just making sound, vibration. And to make that even easier, I am now going to add music. I'm going to throw in the Jeff Gersh ambient field that I have been addicted to of late. And this one's pretty active. So let yourself take it in. Tell me if it's loud enough. You can hear it, if it's the right, if I should make it louder, give me a put it up sign if you're good where it is. And give me the thumbs up. Good. Okay. Thank you. So you can continue to sound or not make sound, but inviting in a sense of spaciousness. And again, a sense of letting center become more expansive or soften. If you feel like you know what's going to happen, listen deeper. Like sometimes I think, oh, my body's going to do this. And then if I really listen, it goes somewhere totally different. So allow the sense of freedom, novelty to arise. If you find yourself in a pattern that keeps repeating, change it. Slow something down, change the space, speed something up. So in a way, we're sort of seeking, I want to say it's terrible, but novelty and the unknown. We're kind of adventuring into possibility by letting the tissue in our body soften, free up. What would be possible if our own holding patterns weren't holding us back or holding us down? Inviting them more spaciousness, inviting in deep cellular spaciousness, and even the space around your cells, lots of space. And taking whatever you think of as that center of yourself and letting it expand. If you need to come back in, you can come back in anytime. You can always enclose and fold. You can do a lot of exploring even in that enclosed and folded space. Allowing your relationship to gravity to change. Thinking of every part of you as an explorer. So maybe it's like your fingertip is an explorer, or your toe, or the skin of your elbow. Awakening awareness in the body-mind. If you feel like you're sort of getting into your own patterns again, make things bigger, make things smaller. Speed things up, slow things down. If you feel like there's a pattern that's happening in one place, try it somewhere else. And become friends with stillness as well. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm making friends with stillness in a non-dual meditation practice with Michael Taft. It's very hard for me to be still for very long. So I thought, well, let me see, can I find a way to be okay with stillness? But we could even find the stillness in the movement, or the silence in the sound. And one more thing just to consider is that even though we're kind of in our own experience, doing our own thing, there's actually a field that we're all dancing within, that we're all moving within. even if you're watching this at another time, somehow you enter this field that everybody in the Zoom room is in. It's kind of not bound by time, this field of energy, which is why so often like movement practices or meditation practices are much more potent when we do them with other people. The collective creates something that alone might be hard to reach. So just feeling gratitude for the collective, gratitude for other people. Allowing yourself to pour yourself around, pouring your body around. And sometimes maybe the muscular action does come in. Sometimes it's fine if we feel that kind of contracting and releasing. But more and more, I like to not feel that. I like to just let my body move. Also, sometimes it feels good to really push or really pull, just to touch into that. Those are developmental patterns that we learn as babies, how to push, how to pull, how to locomote, how to roll. So maybe for a little while, we can also tune into our own sort of inner intelligence, or sort of inner healing intelligence, the inner intelligence of our body that is thriving, or that can lead, can bring us to thriving. Just tuning in, listening in. Is there something to know? Is there something that inner healing intelligence guide, is there some offering that it has for you? Just listening into that. Sometimes it takes a while for to hear or interpret what's being said. Sometimes it can be weeks or months or years. We've just dealt with something along those lines of nervous system stuff. But I feel like, oh, once I got the message, once the message really landed, then I could participate in my own embodiment in a different way. Sometimes it takes a while. And I'm getting into this self-touch moment of finding the surface. So I've been rolling all over the floor and feeling my surface connecting to the floor. But how is it when I connect to myself, self to self, touching and being touched at the same time? I can give myself a bath of awareness through touch. And again, feel that softness. Or it could be more intense. I could grab in. So listening into what feels good and right for you at any given moment. What resources are on hand to nourish? What might we say on hand? Resources on hand. yourself to move small, move big, spiral, ripple, wave, any kind of, it can be weird and ugly. Yeah, I was going to say, one reason I wore my dark lipstick today was just to remind myself to be weird. As a weirdness reminder, doesn't have to be pretty. And when I have permission to be weird, I have so much more permission to play. I can find so much freedom in that. I don't have to be like other people in the ways I choose to express. Or I can if that feels good. So really giving full permission. So as we come towards the end of this, you may want to get bigger, you may want to get smaller, whatever you want to do with your movement is fine. But let's bring the awareness back into that idea of our sort of center of awareness, whatever that means, all the senses working together, feel, touch, see, hear, taste. And let's see if we can make that, again, softer, maybe more diffused. Freeing up your face. When I say be softer, then my neck and my jaw and my tongue go, ugh. Okay. And then I go into droopy jaw. Let me be softer. Play with sounds, play with voices, play with different ways of being, just to give yourself more permission, more access to possibility. If you have images that come up, images of what's in there, what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what inspires you, or just take note of those. Maybe write them down. Just keep them somewhere in your realm of maybe your journal or on the altar. Yeah, got some really weird ones coming up lately. And yet there's something really nourishing about them. When I tune into those energies, there's a whole sense of possibility and range that I didn't think about before. Yeah, so we're coming into the end. I am going to stop recording, or at least pause it. I'm going to stop recording. So anybody who's made it through this far, bravo, yay! And people in the room,